Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Frankly Speaking, and today I'm joined by the legend called Mr. Nambi Narayan and the man, R. Madhavan, who's made a film on the legend called Rocketry, the Nambi Effect. Welcome to the Times Now studios, both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I want to ask you, R. Madhavan, how difficult was it to actually bring down a scientist into a celluloid film, and a scientist who's been through almost such a dramatic life that possibly his life was just made for a film to be made on it?
I don't think there's any rationale in the way the film was conceived and shot and made. It was completely a passion project. The reason being, once you met Nambi Narayan sir, and I had the good fortune of meeting him in 2016, it was very evident to me that there was much more to this man than just the case. And when I found out what that was, and the whole injustice of the entire situation hit me. Mr. Nambi Narayan was only being spoken about because of the spy case. And there was a lot more there than just a spy case. The fact that he was given the Padma Bhushan, and I dare say most of us here do not know why he got the Padma Bhushan. And so that's why it was difficult. It was almost an impossible task, but once we got into the mode, not just me, I think everybody involved in the film, it became a passion project. It was not anything to do with any rational decision at all.
And when you met him, what was the first thought that came to your mind?
I'm finding it strange saying it in front of him, but I knew that there was a lot more to this man than all that the world was harping about. He himself was harping about on his books. The fact that he was talking to me with angst about the case and how futile and useless and wrong it was, but there was a deep sense of I'm missing the point sort of feeling that I was getting. Okay, and it took me 7.5 months of writing a script about his case and everything that happened, and then I came back to talk to him, and then he said at one point of time that Madhavan, there's something wrong with this part. I was not here. I was in Princeton. Studying the instability theorem under Professor Crocco, that it struck me about what I was missing. And then that story about who Nambi Narayan is. You know, our tagline on this film is sometimes a man wronged is a nation wronged. The nation had to know why wronging Nambi Narayan was actually shooting itself in the foot.
But the film itself has very little about the case, so to speak. Why?
It's exactly what I was trying to say. It's because Nambi Narayan's name, the algorithm, every time you look into the Google and you put in Nambi Narayan, it spits out of the ISRO spy case fame. And that's not what Nambi Narayan sir is all about. That's not what this gentleman here is about at all. His contribution to the country, his contribution to the space agency, to ISRO, at the cost of his life, and many a times, is immeasurable. It's immeasurable. And then not to know about his achievements, I thought was a national disservice. And that is why I didn't want to add to the algorithm that added the case to his name every time. I wanted Nambi Narayan sir to be known for the extraordinary scientist that he is, which is why the film was made.
Mr. Nambi Narayan, how comfortable or how discomforting is it when there's a film that's based on you the scientist, you the man who made the engines that are still today used by ISRO in its rockets. You, the man who's been wronged so immensely. How was it when you first spoke about a film that is being made on you?
No, actually there is, I'm not astonished about the whole thing, because as Madhavan was telling, I wanted to prove that I am innocent, because there was a charge saying that I have sold rocket technology to some foreign countries. So my aim at that time was only to prove that I am innocent. But after talking to him, it was casually, it was emerging. In fact, he himself asked me, what is your contribution? What is that you have done to the nation? So I started slowly telling about all, what I did, which includes my episodes with Cleaver in Scotland, and Rolls-Royce, then episodes in France, then in Russia, and then in Princeton, USA. And then my starting of the whole thing with a 600 kg liquid engine. You hope you understand. A 600 kg is less than a ton. And how we came to 60 tons thrust, the Viking or the so-called Vikas engine. So he felt that these contributions are to be told to the nation. At least I agreed and I felt it is okay, because though my priority was to prove my innocence, I felt that at least people will know how justified they are in giving me the so-called the Padma Bhushan award. So that way, I didn't feel anything sad or bad about it, but I felt it is necessary to make tell the story, yes. Tell the story, yes.
So Madhavan, how much of these incidents are, as real as life was for Mr. Nambi Narayanan and depicted in the film? He's spoken about Russia, he's spoken about France, he's spoken about Princeton. How many of these incidents have been played close to reality in the film?
Ma'am, this film is spanning 50 years. So there will be liberties taken in terms of combining space and time and characters, which is the only liberty we have taken. Every incident you see in the film is absolutely truthfully and honestly depicted as it happened and as narrated to me by Nambi sir, which includes what happened in Princeton, his time with Professor Crocco. Luigi Crocco was considered to be the father of the moon mission as well as an esteemed scientist at NASA. What he did in Scotland and how much equipment he got us from there. Him taking 52 scientists who were basically doing manual labor, trying to figure out how the French were building their engines without knowing French, and how they learnt it before they went, and how after 3 years they were able to build an engine better than the French. About how he went to the USSR and brought the engines back in the most adverse of times and doing things that only James Bond is capable of doing, in all honesty. So it was, I don't think that there is a more cinematic life that can be depicted as opposed to what Nambi sir's life actually is. In fact, if I may actually go out as much saying that we had to tone down and keep some things out of the story to make it believable. Most films you'll have to add a little bit of cinematic liberties.
And make it James Bondish.
Right. This one I had to take out. And if I tell you the shocking facts, off screen, you will understand why I had to take out those stuff from being actually
So please
told.
tell us. The journalists that we are, we always want to know what was edited and why, and what's the story behind the story.
Well, as interesting as it might sound, and as apt as it might be for the occasion, there's no payoff for the country if I tell you that. It's really that sad. And it's really that moving. And I think that we've done enough by driving people to tears, and the jingo being right now saying Nambi Narayan sir, it's good to be enough. But if I tell you the rest of the stuff, I don't think that there's any, I think everybody, 1.4 million people, 140 million people would feel guilty about it.
Once in a while, is it wrong to make people feel guilty for the injustice done to our own
Not
James
at all.
Bond?
I think it's very essential. Why would it be once in a while? I think it's very important to feel them.
So make them feel guilty.
I think I've reached the purpose of why I set out to make the film. The only point I was trying to make is there is more to the film than what is being depicted, as an answer to your earlier question where you were saying if there's a liberties taken. So in fact, like I was saying, there are facts being removed to make it palatable.
Mr. Nambi Narayanan, Madhavan says that the whole purpose of the film was to go behind just the spy case and to look at the contributions that were made by you in space research, which somewhere have got lost, because these days the mother of all questions are answered by Google search. And Google search throws up a certain algorithm about you. Has the film done justice, number one? And in real life, do you think somewhere there is this little hollow feeling in your heart because your life has been eclipsed by the case rather than by the achievements that you have to offer to this country?
Honestly, I feel sad. Yes, my life, there was an eclipse. Something is clipped, my wings were clipped. and something happened to me. I paid heavily because I was fighting a case against two mighty governments, and then the media, and then the people, the society, everybody. But what bothers me is that is one side of it. But another side of it is the nation lost. Today we are at least 10, 15 years backwards. Now this was my dream, but that dream is shattered. So to that extent I feel sad about it. But otherwise, I can assure you one thing, this is not a James Bond movie. James Bond, what I mean by that is there is no sexism, there is no, what do you call?
The normal formula.
Yeah, no.
You missed having a girl to run around with.
Yeah,
you did.
Nice. Of course.
You don't have a colorful life. That could have added to the value of the film.
Yeah, he tried his best to find out from me what kind of life I had, but I think he had the intelligence and the ability to talk to me in different occasions, in different styles, but unfortunately, he could get nothing of that sort from me. So he has to stick to the truth.
So no songs?
Not in the types you're expecting, no. Not at all.
Okay.
So in that James Bond kind of a thing, what all done is that, there is absolutely no illegality there. Let me tell you that this is outright. Whatever I have done is absolutely legal. There is no illegality, because I was worried that something illegal, if I do, it will reflect on the nation, it will reflect on the people who have given me encouragement at that time. So, though I had the license, like the James Bond, to kill, that is to do what I'm not saying kill in that sense, I'm saying to do things which will benefit to the nation from reasonably powerful people. I didn't use any of those things, honestly. I was trying to see how best I can meet the requirements for my dream. Again, that dream is mine. It is not that dictated to me by somebody else in that sense. But the moment the whole dream is lost or shattered, irreparably at least, then I thought that the only thing remaining is to prove my innocence. So I better go ahead and then try to do something on that.
The test of the Vikas engine is that it is till date being used.
Yes, 53 launches we have made, not even a single failure.
Not even a single failure. So here's the man, ladies and gentlemen, who's made the Vikas engine for the rockets, for the space research which go up. And this man here has ensured that India has had 53 of those launches without a single failure. And this man was accused of espionage. He was arrested. He was in jail for 2 years. First arrested by the Kerala police, and then the CBI came in, and the closure report came 2 years later. And those 2 years, Nambi Narayan, shattered your dream. The Kerala police, I just want to ask you, what were they trying to prove? What was the axe to grind between you and the Kerala government at that time?
Now, at that time...
Although he was in jail for 60 days, not
2 years.
Yeah, but the closure of the case took 2 years.
4 years.
94, you were
94,
arrested.
November 30th, the case started. And 96, May 2nd, it was come to a preliminary conclusion, namely I am innocent.
Yeah.
That's by the Supreme Court. So that time it took. But I was really in jail only for exactly 50 days.
50 days.
50 days. But those were horrible days. That's a different question.
No, so tell us.
Yeah, I will try to tell, but I don't want to recall those things. But I'll tell you what is. You in the meanwhile, you asked me another question, and I forgot the question.
What did the Kerala government have?
What was that they are trying to prove? See, I didn't understand in the beginning. They arrested me and they went ahead and then they were torturing me and then making me to confess that I have sold the technology to. I asked which technology, which country. No, those two ladies. I said, I never seen those two ladies in my life. Etc. It went on, but they didn't like it. Then, no, you are telling a lie. So the process is they want me to, in fact, they told openly, you tell what we say. It is okay. Then I said, you write as if I have told what you wanted me to. No, we wanted you to tell that with your own voice. So I understood that they are trying to do some video recording and then trying to show somebody. In fact, very interesting. At some point of time, I thought, though it was really horrible and unbearable, I thought I will also have some fun. I said, all right, I will tell you exactly what you are saying. He said, okay, yes. Then I'll start telling. I went there on such a day, and I met, whom did he say? That there's two ladies, like that.
Then so you gave their game away.
Oh boy, it was one full day I dragged in that process. Because I just wanted to hope that something will happen. I'm hoping something will happen. Because these guys are not going to be allowed to do what kind of nonsense they are doing. But of course it did happen, but it took 5 days. And you know, their argument in many places, it will be very interesting, Navika. They will say, he was under our custody only for 4 days. They reduced the 5 to 4 days. How can we torture him? Then I asked a question. 1 minute is sufficient for you to torture. Why 4 days is not sufficient? Actually, you asked me a question, I will try to answer. At the end of the 4th day, I was standing, not allowed to sit down, and not even a single drop of water was given. So this guy asked me, how long you will stand? I said, as long as my physique permits, I will stand. Anyway, in the process, I fell down. I was semi-conscious. No, they were talking, oh, I told you not to do this old man, if he kicks a bucket, we are in trouble. That man will be sitting there and then giving orders. All kinds of things are coming through ears. Now you can understand by standing approximately 30 hours and fainting, by resisting not to obey their orders. In fact, they failed to show, they showed all kinds of videographs to the court for the occasion, excepting mine. There is no video available. Then even the judge asked, what happened to that other accused? No, we could not do it, something like that. The point I am making is, it was horrible, unbearable, and it is unimaginable. But the point is that at least I am happy. At least I didn't fall as a victim, or I didn't sing their song. I think that strength I got from God. I should say that.
Amazing. I'm not surprised that after hearing something like this, Madhavan, you decided to dedicate yourself to this, making this film and telling this story behind this man who was being framed so very obviously, and who resisted it. But what was it like for you? I mean, you even circumstances became such that you even directed the film after Anant Mahadevan stopped. Number one, why did he stop, and how did you come in? And tell us a little bit about that process and your mental makeup and commitment to the film.
Once having met Nambi sir, I knew that I was doing this film. As an actor, everybody dreams of doing a lifetime sort of a film where you grow from a young age to an old age. And I was enthusiastic about it, so I was looking forward to being an actor. I just didn't know what I'd bitten at that point of time. The third part was I had to produce it because it was difficult to explain to anybody else why they should invest their money on a film like this, because it had no heroines, no songs, no run-of-the-mill commercially safety nets. I didn't want to direct it, but Mr. Madhavan never stopped. He never started, actually. He could not direct the film because we got considerably delayed, and he had to opt out of the film. So 25 days before the shoot was to start, I had the choice of either dropping the film or going ahead and directing it myself, because I had understood the subject. I had done the research enough to understand what the engine was all about and the beauty of the engine and how his accomplishments were, relevant to the country at that point of time. So now Nambi sir felt that I had worked with enough directors to know how to direct a film, and my investors were happy to let me direct it. And so in a moment of bravado, I said yes. I think it's on the day of the shoot that I realized that the humongous task that stood in front of me. And I remember the moment very clearly, Navika, where I was losing hope, and a friend of mine called and said, Maddie, just do it. you're there, the shot's ready. Just take that one shot, just one shot. Just take that one shot, and then we'll decide after that. If you have to call it quits, do it after that. And so I took that one shot just to make sure I got it the way I wanted it, and everybody wasn't laughing at me. So I did the next shot, and then we finally got the film done in 3 languages, in 8 countries, and live sound, with things that have never been done before in many films, and any film actually, as a matter of fact.
More than a thriller. I have spent 27 years in this case, and more than 20 years I have been cranking my head. Instead of doing some more rocketry work, I did this. I became a lawyer by experience, by fighting my case. So in the process, I found out something. All those things are worth the material for the next book.
Book or film?
Well, he has to read the book first.
So you read the book and you were convinced that you wanted to
The book was a shadow of what his achievements or who he was.
So how did this whole thought of meeting Nambi sir, making the film, actually germinate?
I saw an interview after speaking to Madhavan and before we went to meet him. Another interview, it was in Malayalam, and it's still there on the internet. And in that interview, Nambi sir was saying that it's been so many adjournments, and I've been going to Delhi all the time, and every time I go sit in front of the judge, adjourns it, and he says this case is going to go on and on and on, and it'll go on till Nambi Narayan will die, and the case will still not. But I promise you that even after I die, this case will go on till justice is served, because how many people like me who are there in this country who are paying the price of the patriotism, that will fight. I will fight for them. And he had tears in his eyes. In fact, I was so moved by that particular video that I actually made that part of my film. In fact, I had to get into this crazy look of Nambi sir, go through hoops that I never thought I would have to in my life, just to make sure I looked like him, so that I could include that one clip, which was the germ of the entire movie making for me in the film.
So Maddie, how important was the commercial success of the film, given the investments, because you're a producer as well, and what has the response been, and how do you feel about it?
Well, the commercial success is extremely important for people to believe in films like this, and the kind of response that we've got from the people. I mean, we're at 9.3 IMDb. We've got ratings that no other Indian film has got for the longest time. The public have giving us standing ovations in the theaters, and crying and sobbing. And the trending word today is "Sorry, Nambi Narayan." And so I think I've achieved the purpose as a filmmaker, as a storyteller. I was smart enough to make sure that we are on the green much before the release of the film, in which we were. And we've shot the film in 3 languages, so it's native to Tamil, to Hindi, as well as in English. So I was smart, money-wise, and thankfully the box office also is growing in leaps and bounds. So I don't think I can say much, but box office success is extremely important for me to make more films like this.
So after going to OTT in the middle and doing series like Decoupled and all, I've seen those as well.
I'm glad you have.
Have you decided a genre in which you want to be, or are you still somebody who's going to sort of dabble in everything and once in a while a Nambi Narayanan story?
Yeah. I hate to be confined to a particular genre. Yeah, I value my freedom, and I think that's essential in me selecting the kind of stories that resonate with my psyche at that point of time. So if I want to do Decoupled and I'm offered a Rocketry at that point of time, it's a wrong synergy. I would never do it. And likewise. So I'm really looking forward to doing some comedy right now. I'm not very keen on doing anything more serious. I just want to go out, do a fun comedy.
And some of those gyrations.
No, me doing that generation would be comedy.
Let's see, maybe it'll fit into your mood right now.
There is nothing under the earth that will actually make me go and dance, Navika. You have no clue how much they're ready to pay me to dance. I don't dance. I am very, very sure that I cannot accept, embarrass myself, do anything when I try to.
Do you know that your first film, Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein, and that one song that was so famous, it's even today, I think the most romantic song that people.
You're talking about Zara Zara?
Zara.
Where was I dancing in that?
Yeah,
I was just standing there. Dia was doing all the dancing, and I was just happy to let her do it.
Mr. Nambi Narayanan, so when are we seeing part 2 of the book?
Well, actually speaking, the material necessary for writing the book is ready. So it's a matter of putting them together. But I have to wait for the judgment of the Jains Committee's conclusions. Because I feel that I should put the names, exactly the names, not any alternative names. So if I have to be, not get into sub judice part of it, I will have to wait for that. So it is linked to that judgment.
Okay.
That way.
And I hope and pray judgments come faster than they do in the present day and age, because freedom to write and actually tell the world about the real truth of what you went through is so very important. I'm hoping that happens sooner than later. And Maddie, I'm being told by my PCR that the song that you danced to was Sach Keh Raha Hai.
That too, there was no singing, there was no dancing.
There was dancing,
Barely.
and I'm being told.
Barely.
I'm being told.
Yeah,
so
that song
we've
is
caught
famous.
you lying.
No,
we've caught you. This is not creative freedom.
Please show me, me gyrating in that film. I'll be happy to take back my words. He was just like sadly singing, sitting in the rain. That sort of dancing was happening.
So you want to go back to that genre?
No. What was that? Was 20 years and 20
These days you can have romance at this time also. In these, I mean, decoupled.
Yeah, decoupled kind of romance for sure. But I have to be age appropriate in what I do. I promised my wife that.
Ageism is not something that's very cool.
I'm very Arya-like when it comes to all these isms. Okay, please. What the hell? I mean, come on. I cannot be seen romancing younger women. It's just not right.
I can tell you one thing, the kind of action he has done in this movie, in my life. I don't think that Maddie has ever acted in any film like that. I feel at least as on today, that is a topmost action I can ever imagine in that. Fantastic.
Well then, if not for India's sake, for Maddie's sake, you have to write your book soon. Because he has to make a sequel to Rocketry itself,
Yeah.
and it's a story that has to be told.
That is true.
And not just told, it has to be told Maddie style, because if part 1 is done by Maddie, we can't have anybody else do part 2. at least in people's imaginations.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Looking forward to the book and looking forward to the sequel. And it's been an honor, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, to have you in our studios. As they say, we are blessed. We are blessed that a man as great as you has come into our studios at a time when we're trying to tell the world the story of a life. And it's a story for us, but it was real for you. The trials, the tribulations, the heartache, the pain, everything must have been so real to you. I can't even begin to imagine how you would have gone through that torturous time. But salute you, Maddie, for bringing this to celluloid and making India watch this and relate to the greatness of this man and many like him whose stories have been untold. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, and thank you so much, Maddie.
Very sweet. Thank you.